stonewalling policy, he said, before there'd be a climate to proceed any further.
We want that the UK would be at the heart of Europe. That's my belief. I stick to that. But with these procedures, it cannot be achieved.
But Britain is insisting on progress before any return to business as usual, a message underlined by the Prime Minister today, who was meeting his Dutch counterpart, and by the Foreign Secretary.
The United Kingdom has compromised from its original position. We began by saying we wanted the immediate lifting of the ban. What we now accept in a spirit of compromise is that the ban will only be lifted phase by phase.
Mr. Rifkind was in Germany on his charm offensive, but from his hosts came another blow. Bonn may not abide by the relaxation of the gelatine ban. Quite justified, say some MEPs, even if it's illegal.
I'm not quite happy about the decision of today, because lifting a ban, that means from the German point of view, first it should be shown that the program of eradication of BSE is really working.
The British government insists there's nothing unlawful about its veto policy, but tonight relations between London and Brussels appear to be locked in a classic stalemate, with neither side willing to make a move until the other does so first. Today's events have undoubtedly deepened this crisis, and eventually one side or other will have to climb down, because until someone gives ground, the rest of the beef ban is effectively non-negotiable. Jonathan Munro, News at 10, Brussels.
Over now to our political editor, Michael Brunson at Westminster. Mike, a crack in non-cooperation over Slovenia. Have we blinked?
Well, it certainly can look that way, can't it? And there is some talk around Westminster tonight about Mr. Major having blinked. On the other hand, as you heard, part of the reason for this relaxation, and it will be the first time that Europe has cooperated, that Britain has cooperated with Europe on anything since the new policy came in, is that they want to send a signal that they were pleased that the partial ban was lifted today. There's another reason, though. This announcement tonight by Mr. Rifkin was made in Rome, and it was after a meeting with the Italian Foreign Minister, Mr. Dini. Now, Mr. Dini, I hear, has promised Britain that he will work as hard as he can to get this thing sorted out ahead of the summit meeting in Florence in about 3 weeks' time. Now, Britain is very, very relieved about that, and so it is also by way of a little thank you, I think, to Mr. Dini for doing that. And of course, Slovenia, a near neighbour just across the water from Italy. And to counter the allegations that Mr. Major has led his troops up to the top of the hill and then taken them down again, which is the sort of talk you might hear in some quarters, it is being pointed out that Mr. Rifkin is going to block a further 8 or 9 measures in Europe next Monday.
Michael Brunson, thank you. An uncompromising statement from the IRA today threw a shadow over the multi-party talks due to start in Northern Ireland on Monday. It said it wouldn't hand over any weapons this side of an overall peace settlement, and said the likelihood even of a ceasefire was remote. That almost certainly means that the IRA's political wing Sinn Féin won't be at the talks. Here's our political correspondent, Tom Bradby.
Gerry Adams said in Belfast this morning he wasn't going to speculate on the prospects of a ceasefire, but it's hard to know what he's thinking privately at the moment. He would probably like to be at the all-party talks on Monday, but some of his more hard-line colleagues appear to have other ideas. The IRA issued a statement today saying simply, the likelihood of any IRA ceasefire is remote in the extreme. The IRA will not be decommissioning its weapons through either the front or the back doors. So is that the real position or just a negotiating tactic to prize more concessions?
Well, what the IRA are doing are using the weapons they have to threaten society in Northern Ireland and indeed here on the mainland.
The IRA statement seems to give little cause for optimism, but Mr. Hume clearly believes they can still be brought in.
It says the likelihood of a ceasefire is remote in the extreme, and it also says unless the talks are comprehensive and without preconditions. We're in a negotiating situation at the minute. That's how I see it.
Despite the obvious problems, the two governments have been searching for a deal for the all-party talks. Mr. Major out in the summer sunshine today with the Irish President, Mary Robinson. President Clinton's envoy, George Mitchell, has been the sticking point. The Irish have been trying to expand his role. In the last few minutes, the two governments do appear to have reached an agreement, but it may prove academic. It's impossible to rule out a ceasefire, but on the whole, the picture looks bleak. The peace process was all about trying to bring the IRA into negotiations. That's what made it different from the politics of the last 25 years. But after 3 years of hard effort, it doesn't seem to be working. Tom Bradby, News at 10 at Westminster.
The newly divorced Duchess of York is to write her life story for an American publisher. The company, Simon & Schuster, said tonight she'll describe herself and her experiences as they were rather than as they've been portrayed. The Duchess's spokesman said it wouldn't be a kiss-and-tell book. ITN's Kevin Dunn reports from the United States.
As the book deal was announced, the Duchess was in New York visiting a charity which cares for babies born with drug addiction, and she was loving it.
I love it here. I love it here.
Much criticised for her extravagant lifestyle and reported to have debts of up to £2 million, the Duchess has for some time been looking for ways to increase her income. In the past, she has earned considerable royalties from sales associated with her character, Budgie the helicopter. But on a previous visit to the United States, she claimed she was a hard-up single mum.
It really bugs me that every day I have to read I'm a millionaire 3 times over. I tell you.
Experts say the book could earn her millions.
Hundreds of thousands of pounds, potentially millions. It just depends on what she's going to say. She said recently she wouldn't do or say anything that would embarrass the royal family, but it depends on just how discreet she thinks being discreet is.
America has a fascination with the British royal family, unmatched possibly anywhere else in the world, which is why the publishers are so sure the book will be a success. They say it will be a tale of personal courage and growth, the Duchess's own story in her own words.
There will be, I think, things that are shocking and surprising and of vast interest that don't have to do with her necessarily talking about everybody else, but about talking about what she went through.
With publication set for the end of November, the Duchess is already hot favourite to top the Christmas bestseller lists. Kevin Dunn, News at 10 in the United States.
Scientists investigating the spectacular failure of yesterday's Ariane rocket launch said today faulty computer software was the likely cause.